Hello everybody, I'm Ryan Schwertfeger, and right now we're in front of Heights School and I'm interviewing Mr. Mike Guadagnino. Nice to meet you.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for coming and talking with me about things that are going on in town and your organization, Oakland Victory.
Thank you. And I'd like to also thank you for all the work you do with politics and polls. I mean, as someone who's worked with youth in town for such a long period of time, I find it very admirable that you have such a passion for this and that you go forward. I think you're an Indian Hills High School junior.
I'm going to be a junior this coming year, yeah?
Junior, yeah. I think that's great. We see that happening in this town.
Yeah, if you watch the introductions from my previous videos, I'm very interested in what's going on in town because I feel that people don't get enough representation, sort of thing. I was always interested in like Frank Luntz and pollster people, and I mean the most that you get down to is usually maybe Bergen County, and that's it. No one gets to poll people about town, so. Some people think I'm crazy, but I thoroughly enjoy it.
No, I think it's great. I think it's as someone who works with the youth, and I think it's great when we see youth of this town following their passion and going forward and not sit around waiting for things to happen, but making things happen.
Okay, just to let you know, the questions that I came up with, this past few weeks, I've been polling people in front of the post office for my summer election poll. So, there was a question about whether people recognize the name of your website or the organization, and then there was also a question separate about what they feel about the rec director whole thing. So a lot of these questions were from people who, asked me questions about it, and I said, well, I don't know, so I just, added to them, and I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
So when Oakland Victory was first discovered earlier this year, speculation grew as to who made it, what's the story behind it, and then the Oakland Journal wrote, you had the article, Mystery Solved, it was called, and it said about, you were one of the founders of the page and part of the group and everything. And when asked if this had to do with the recent recreation thing going on in town, you were quoted as saying, "No, I stated my piece back when it happened, and this is not related. I have put this behind me and have helped any present commissioners as they have come to me for help, questions, and guidance." However, some people were asking me that if this is the case, why didn't you form this organization last year to help the Democratic candidates? Why did you decide to start this year?
That's an excellent question. Basically, what Oakland Victory is made up of are people who are Republican values, conservative values, people who believe in smaller government. And we would like to see this town follow that pattern. We're at a time right now where taxes have gone up 60% over the past 8 years. We're at a time right now when the government has just basically been ballooning and expanding, and we'd like to see it be reined in. And Oakland Victory is something that the group got together and we decided which directions we want to go with this, and the best direction was to try to send a message. And the message is we will support candidates that support this small government type of idea or ideals. And that it doesn't matter if they're Republicans or if they're Democrats or an independent. We will look at the candidates that are running and choose the ones that are in favor of the smaller government.
So you just decided to start this year as just a general idea that you guys came up together with? Or?
No, I think it's evolved. Last year you had a couple independent candidates, and as independent candidates, it was tough to get any traction. Actually, the two independent candidates, I believe, got somewhere around 500 votes, and the party candidates got a lot higher. So it probably started from that idea, and then it grew from what's been going on. And to mention about the recreation, honestly, if you go to oaklandvictory.com, we have a YouTube page, and on that YouTube page, you will find my discussion with the mayor at the time. And at no time did I ever demand, state that I need to have this recreation. I did it my 5 years and move on. I mean, it really has nothing to do with it, and I haven't been helping anybody. In fact, I spoke to the commissioner just today. Today is August 17th.
Yes.
And I spoke to the commissioner who needed help on a situation, and I'm more than happy to help. But my passions lie in what's best for Oakland, and how the group sees it, and how I see it. As I am a Republican, I have Republican values. My first person I ever voted for was Ronald Reagan, and I like to see those ideas be brought to smaller government, be brought to Oakland, and I'm trying to do my part.
Since you brought up the recreation thing, I'm actually going to jump down 2 questions.
Go right ahead.
Without getting too much in detail, because a lot of people, some people have different points of view about what happened, but you weren't reappointed to the Recreation Commission, and that's sort of a chain of events that we all know. There's now a recreation director.
No, there actually isn't a recreation director.
Oh,
There's a recreation aide. No, presently there are, I believe, 7 recreation commissioners. All 9 seats are not filled. I believe it's 7. I know all the seats are not filled. There's a recreation aide, and there's a recreation secretary, which is Lori Dent, who is a fabulous, excellent person, who's someone before I was not reappointed we all recommended to take this spot as aide. So she's helping as an aide, and recreation is basically being run by the town. There is no chairman, there is no vice chairman. So there isn't a director. It's being run, but it's being run by the town, but not under the auspices of a recreation director.
Okay, well, taking all that into consideration, you know, that was one of the big things that people have dissatisfaction with the mayor with, like the most recent flare. Probably that and flooding are like the two biggest things going on right now.
The taxes,
and the street mass and
downtown.
Taxes. More recently, those are like the two big main issues. So, with this big hot button issue, what do you recommend that the candidates do that are going up for election this fall, including the mayor, Ms. Schwager, any Republican Democratic council? How do you think they should approach this very hot button issue?
Recreation?
Yes.
Recreation was heading in the direction of being privatized. Mr. Wagner, the former rec chairman, was to me, we worked on this for a couple of years, what would be the best way to form a privatization. Once again, we're talking about Reagan ideology, getting government out of recreation. No reason to have socialized, I've heard somewhere that socialized recreation. We want to pull it completely out and have it privatized, the way we have Wayne PAL, the way you have the Midland Park program run, and other programs run. It was privatized. There's no government involvement, and taxes have to go towards it. They can fundraise the recreation, and we run, and that's how I would see it run best. Just get the government out of recreation.
So you would like to see the candidates say we want to privatize?
I would like to see that. Yes, I'd like to see that. Yes.
Okay. You also, going back to the Oakland victory, I believe this was the article. This was the same article, but I think you also had this on your website too. That you said, quote, "We hold traditional Republican values of smaller government, better government. Our present elected leaders, all Republicans, do not respect these values." So, if that's the case, what do you see in Ms. Schwager that sort of reflects these values, and why don't you maybe try and run yourself, or maybe if there's a stronger independent candidate that you see fit?
I think Ms. Schwager probably knows the issues much better than I do. But how I answer your question and what do I see with her with this, I give you 3 points right off the bat. First, dealing with the Stream House. She has been and is working on setting up and would like to set up a foundation so the Stream House and the Van Allen House can fundraise for themselves. From my understanding, she has done this with the library, and I believe she was chair on it, and they've raised $200,000 to put towards the library. No government involvement, no taxpayer dollars. It can be done privately. Exactly. The second thing I mentioned, recreation. I believe she is considering the privatization of recreation. The third thing is we talk a lot about the downtown. Since this mayor's taken office, the Chamber of Commerce has been basically dissolved. She is presently working on building that back up again. You want a downtown, you have to work with all the businesses down there, and that has been defunct. She's working with the businesses and will work with the businesses to help the downtown. Again, getting government out of the equation, letting these groups handle their own issues, their own sidewalks, their own awnings, and not looking for the taxpayers to come up with a government solution.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mike. It was
Brian,
nice
talking
with you.
Good luck in